Happy Tuesday, Camp Ride Waters. Now, I know that the cheat sheet has changed a little bit, so I still want you to use the strategies on this, but remember the day of the STAR test, you're going to have 4 or probably 5 stories like this. So what the cheat sheet is to prevent you from wasting time on the day of the STAR test is you won't have to write your proofreading marks every single time on the STAR test. You won't have to write your fanboys or your Woobus words every single time on the STAR test. My plan is that if you do your cheat sheet the day of the STAR test, then you can just use it as a reference tool and have it wherever you need it as opposed to having to write it. But for the sake of getting Skittles today, let's go ahead and do our strategies the way that we've always done them. The first thing that you could do is write your name on the top. Now, I realize that your name is probably on the front. You didn't have to do that, but if you did, give yourself a tally mark. The next strategy that we are accustomed to doing is our proofreading marks. So it's caret up, caret down, caret with a comma, period with a circle, SP, bloop bloop, slash, 3 lines, arrows, wrong tense, and wrong word. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. The next strategy that we use is we set the intro off with brackets. One day, while flipping through a magazine, Kenny saw photos of some artwork that fascinated him. After researching the artist, he wrote this paper. Read Kenny's paper and look for revisions he should make. So this is about an artist, some photos that he saw, and we know that Kenny wrote the paper. So you should have put brackets around the intro. You should have written intro. And the important thing that we took away from that is that this passage is actually revision. There's a big difference between revising and editing. Editing, you're looking for mistakes, spelling mistakes, capitalization mistakes, punctuation mistakes. If it's revision, you don't waste your time looking for mistakes in the story because there are no spelling, capitalization, or punctuation mistakes. When it's revising, that means that you've got to revisit the story and make some changes, but you're going to rely heavily on the actual questions and answer choices. So if you put brackets around the intro, wrote intro, and circled or underlined keywords, give yourself a tally mark. The next strategy that we use is to label the different parts of our story. So the intro is A, we're going to underline the title and label it B. Now this gives us important clues about our story. Pencil tip art, and then this is exactly what it is that shows us exactly what they're talking about. So you can see the great detail that goes into this pencil tip art. So A, B, this picture can be C, this picture can be D. Some examples of art that Getty has created on the tips of pencils. That can even be E. And there aren't any other pictures or charts or bar graphs or anything like that. But this is all good information, all useful information that's going to help us be able to understand and analyze the story better. So if you did that, give yourself a tally mark. The next strategy that we're going to use is we're going to cheat. We're going to use a highlighter or a crayon or a marker, and we're going to highlight the sentences that we know they're going to ask us questions about. This one says, what is the best way to combine sentences 6 and 7? So you're going to color sentence 6 and you're going to color sentence 7. You're going to put parentheses before sentence 6 and after sentence 7 to show that those two are going to be combined. What is the best way to revise sentence 9? So you're going to put a dot right here on 9 because we are going to revise sentence 9. Kenny realizes that there is a sentence in his third paragraph, sentence 11 through 18, that does not belong. Which sentence should Kenny delete from the paragraph? So we've done this, we just haven't done this lately. Instead of coloring this in, what you're going to do is you're going to circle it. So we're talking about this paragraph right here, and there is a sentence that doesn't belong. But instead of coloring it completely in, what I want you to do is I just want you to circle it. Because that will remind you as you're reading their story, does this belong or does it not belong? Is it on topic, off topic? So it's sentence 12, sentence 13, sentence 14, and sentence 17. And all that means is as you're reading, you can ask yourself as you're looking, does this belong or does it not belong? The last one says, the meaning of sentence 23 is unclear. Kenny can clarify the meaning of this sentence by changing they. So you're going to color in sentence 23, and the word they want us to change is they. So right now, before I ever even start reading my story, I know they want me to combine sentences 6 and 7. They want me to revise sentence 9. They want me to find one of these sentences that's off topic or does not belong. And they want me to revise sentence 23 by changing out the pronoun they. So if you cheated and you highlighted the sentences that you know they're going to ask you questions about, go ahead and give yourself a tally mark. Then it's time to start reading. Dalton Getty is a carpenter by trade. He spends most of his time at work remodeling homes. He spends his free time, however, on an unusual hobby. He creates sculptures from the tips of pencils. When Getty was a child growing up in Sao Paulo, Brazil, I don't know if I said that right, he and his friends used pocket knives to sharpen their pencils. Getty learned how to carve his friends' names into pencils. He would then give the pencils to his friends as gifts. They want us to combine those two sentences. As he grew older, he carved large pieces from wood, but he was always much more interested in small pieces. One day he decided that into the tips of pencils he would carve a miniature sculpture. Getty's unique hobby was born. Today, Getty uses only 3 tools to create his sculptures: a razor blade, a sewing needle, and a sculpturing knife. He now lives in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Among Getty's many creations are a tiny chair, a shoe, a mailbox, and a church. He has even carved a miniature Elvis Presley into the tip of a pencil. Most sculptures take several months for Getty to create. However, some projects take longer. Getty once carved a pencil into a series of 23 interlocking chain links. That project took 2.5 years. Getty doesn't sell his work. He just enjoys making things for himself and his friends. Occasionally, though, some of his miniature art is displayed in museums. This pleases Getty because he wants people to notice small things. Getty used to get frustrated when they would break, but a change in attitude has helped him. Now he accepts the fact that delicate pieces are sometimes going to break. As soon as he begins each project, he thinks, I wonder how far I can get before it breaks. So, because it's revision, we're not going to spend time guessing how we should answer these questions. Instead, we're going to move right on to our questions and just attack it. So let's look at this. What is the best way to combine sentences 6 and 7? Best way, combine sentences 6 and 7. If you underline those keywords in your question, give yourself a tally mark. Now, anytime you see the word combine, rewrite, revise. And another thing is it says Getty learned how, Getty learned how, Getty learned how, Getty learned how. So these sentences look a whole lot alike. They look a whole lot alike. But, and it never fails, somebody today will come up to me and say, Ms. Walls, these two are exactly the same. So how we prevent that from happening is we use a strategy that we call Chinese. And this means you're going to pick the answer that you think is correct. Oftentimes people think that our proofreading marks look like Chinese proofreading marks. You're going to go back and you're going to make sure you're going to pick the one that you think it is, and then you're going to go back and you're going to make all the other answer choices look just like it. We use this instead of having to say out beside it, no comma needed, or this doesn't make sense, or we don't talk that way. So instead of having to write a description, this just helps you be able to prove your wrong answers wrong or prove your right answer right. So right now we know that there's not a no revision needed. So let's just look at our sentences, and we're just going to put a little X or check by the ones we think it is. Getty learned how to carve his friend's name into pencils, comma, which he would then give to his friends as gifts. I'm going to put a maybe baby or a dot for possibility on that because that actually sounds the way we talk, and that sounds okay. Which he would then give to his friends as gifts. That sentence actually is a clause, so it couldn't be by itself, so it works good connected to that. Let's look at this. I see a comma right here. Getty learned how to carve his friends' names into pencils. That's a complete sentence. He would then give the pencils to his friends as gifts. That's a complete sentence. So it's complete on the left, complete on the right. It needs both a comma and a fanboys word to make it right, and it doesn't have a fanboys word, so that makes it a run-on sentence. So that's not a good choice, so I just put an X. Getty learned how to carve his friends' names into pencils after he would give the pencils to his friends as gift. My problem with that is after. After is the wrong transition word. He didn't learn how to carve his friends' names into pencils after he would give them. He would give them as gifts after he carved his friends' names into the pencils. So that's the wrong transition word. That doesn't sound right. So we're going to put an X there. Getty learned how to carve his friends' names into pencils. That would then give the pencils to his friends as gifts. Again, that's not the way we talk. This is probably the wrong connecting word. Getty learned how to carve his friends' names into pencils that would then give the pencils to his friends as gifts. That's not how we talk. So that wouldn't work. So the only one that I think it could be is A. It works grammatically and it sounds the way we talk. So right now I'm going to use my Chinese proofreading marks to make all the rest of these look like this one. Getty learned how to carve his friends' names into pencils, comma, then you just need to add the word which he would then give, you don't need the pencils, give to his friends as gifts. By inserting which and blooping out the pencils, that would make this one look just like this one. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. Getty learned how to carve his friends' names. We need to add names into pencils, comma, so you're going to insert a comma. You're going to take out after and insert which he would then, whoops, I messed up, then give, you don't need the pencils because that would be a repeat, pencils, which he would then give to his friends as gifts. That would make this one look just like this. By inserting which and inserting then, that would make this one look just like this choice. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. Getty learned how to carve his friends' names into pencils. You need to insert a comma and insert which. Then you need to bloop out that, which he, so you can insert a comma and insert which he would then give. Again, you don't need the pencils to his friends as gifts. So on this one, to make it look just like this, you got to insert a comma, insert which he, and bloop out pencils. The main reason that we use Chinese proofreading marks, again, is because oftentimes kids will say, these look just the same, but it's just like a matching game. When you match it up word for word for word, you can see that there's differences, even if they're minor differences. So my only correct answer is A, and you can actually fix A like that in your story. You could say, Getty learned how to carve his friends' names in pencils, bloop out the period and insert a comma, and then insert which and lowercase he, which he would then give to his friends as gifts. You don't need the pencils there. That would make this look just like our answer choice. So if you picked A as your correct answer and you fixed it that way in your story, give yourself a tally mark. I'm trying to go quickly. What is the best way to revise sentence 9? So you should have underlined best way, revise sentence 9. Again, anytime you see revise, combine, revisit, we use our Chinese strategy. We're going to pick the answer that we think is correct, and we're going to make all our other answer choices look just like it. When we look over here at sentence 9, it says, one day he decided that into the tip of a pencil he would carve a miniature sculpture. And that just doesn't quite sound the way we talk. That sounds a little funny. So let's look and see. One day he decided to carve into the tip of a pencil. Okay, I see a comma here. Let's look. One day he decided to carve into the tip of a pencil. Who or what is it about? He. What did he do? Decided. So that's complete. He would carve a miniature sculpture. That's complete. It's complete on the left, complete on the right. It needs both a comma and a fanboys to make it right. So we know that that's not a good choice. One day he decided that he would carve into the tip of a pencil where he carved a miniature sculpture. One day he decided that he would carve into the tip of a pencil where he carved a miniature sculpture. Carved. That's a repeat. And oftentimes when they're asking you to revise, it's not going to be a repeat. One day he decided to carve a miniature sculpture into the tip of a pencil. That definitely looks like it's our right choice. So let's go back and compare. One day he decided to carve, right here, you can grab a miniature sculpture and move it up here. One day he decided to carve a miniature sculpture into the tip of a pencil, period. Then you wouldn't need the comma and he would carve. That would solve the repeat. That one's a repeat too. One day he decided that would work. Let's look at this one. One day he decided you don't need that. He would. You would just insert to. One day he decided to carve. You can get miniature sculpture up here. A miniature sculpture into the tip of a pencil. Period. You can take off where he carved. One day he decided to carve a miniature sculpture into the tip of a pencil. So that would make this one look just like this one. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. This sentence does not need to be revised. This sentence does. So I'll just bleep out not. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. My only correct answer on that is H. You can actually fix it in the story. One day he decided he would carve a miniature sculpture into the tip of a pencil. You can use your arrows and move that down here. One day he decided that he would carve a miniature sculpture into the tip of a pencil. So by moving this phrase to the end, it makes it match that. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. My only correct answer is H. Kenny realizes that there is a sentence in the third paragraph, sentences 11 through 18, that does not belong. Which sentence should Kenny delete from his paragraph? So, sentence that does not belong, it needs to be deleted. Now, this kind of question sometimes gets confused by which sentence is complete or not complete. We're not looking for the one that's complete or not complete. We're looking for the one that is on topic or off topic. You can actually draw a strategy box here to make sure that you know what you're working on. So if it's on topic, it belongs. Or if it's off topic, it does not belong. If it's on topic, it belongs. If it's off topic, it does not belong. So if you underline keywords in your question, give yourself a tally mark. If you drew a strategy box, give yourself a tally mark. We're looking for the one that is off topic that does not belong. So let's look at that paragraph really quick. Today, Getty uses only 3 tools to create his sculpture. And then the rest of the paragraph goes on to tell us what kind of sculptures he has. He does a tiny chair, a shoe, a mailbox, a church. He even did an Elvis Presley. So which sentence would not belong? Let's see, sentence 12. He now lives in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Are we talking about where Getty lives? No, we're talking about what he does. So in this case, this is off topic or does not belong. And we're looking for the one that's off topic or doesn't belong. So we're going to put a dot for possibility or a maybe baby on A. Let's look at sentence 13. Among Getty's many creations are a tiny chair, a shoe, a mailbox, and a church. Are we talking about what he creates? Yes, that's what this whole story is about, is pencil tip art and what he creates. So this one belongs or it is on topic. And we're looking for the one that's off topic, so you can mark that off. Sentence 14. He has even carved a miniature Elvis Presley into the tip of a pencil. We're talking about his creations or what he carved, so that definitely belongs. So sentence 14 is on topic or belongs, and we're looking for the one that's off topic, so we'll eliminate that answer choice. And sentence 17, Getty once carved a pencil into a series of 23 interlocking chains. Again, this goes back to what are his creations? What does he do? So this one belongs. So my only correct answer is 12. The only sentence that doesn't belong is that he lives in Bridgeport. Even though that's useful information, that doesn't really belong at that point in the story. So you can bloop that out because it does not belong. You could put off topic up here too if you wanted to. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. And if you picked A as your correct answer, give yourself a tally mark. We're on to the last one. The meaning of sentence 23 is unclear. Kenny can clarify the meaning of this sentence by changing they. So you're going to change a word. Anytime that you're adding a word or changing a word, the strategy that we use is SKP for sandwich, keyword, plug in. So on sentence 23, I was looking at number 16. Sentence 23, they is a pronoun. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. So we're going to sandwich, keyword, plug in. When you sandwich it, you're going to underline the sentence before it and the part of the sentence after it. Sometimes it's even better to get a bigger chunk of the paragraph to know what we're talking about. Then we're going to read it. Getty used to get frustrated when they would break, but a change in attitude has helped him. When they break, what would they break? Let's look at this. Let's plug in our answer choices. Getty used to get frustrated when they would break, when the stuff he worked on would break, but a change in attitude has helped him. That actually sounds all right. The stuff he's working on, that's what he doesn't want to break. So I'm going to put a maybe baby or a dot for possibility on that. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. Getty used to get frustrated when this and that would break, but a change in attitude has helped him. Well, even though this and that makes sense grammatically, like you could plug that in, this and that is no more descriptive, or it doesn't make it any more unclear. You want a very specific word plugged in here that's going to tell us what they is. So even though this works, I would say this is not clear. Or you could even go back to what they said in the question, unclear. This is unclear. This and that, although it works, it doesn't give us any more information than what they is. Items and things. Getty used to get frustrated when items and things would break, but a change in attitude would help him. This is the same sort of problem. They and items and things is not clear. So again, this is not clear, unclear, won't work. Let's see, Getty used to get frustrated when his pencils and pencil tips wod break. Now we're talking about what we're supposed to be, but a change in attitude has helped him. When they would break, well, he's carving into the teeny tiny tip of a pencil. So they, a way to describe it would be his pencils or pencil tips. So you can put a maybe, baby, or dot for possibility. Now this is sort of like a reading skill too, when they're trying to trick you with like a fact or an opinion. The key words that you look for, anytime that you're trying to make a word clear and not unclear, you want very specific nouns like pencils and pencil tips. You want to avoid words like this and that, things, stuff, because those words, although they would work grammatically and plug in, they do not make it more clear. So I put a dot for possibility on both of these, but if I was having to make a choice by changing they to make it more clear, I would have to say Getty used to get frustrated when his pencils and pencil tips would break. So even though this sounded good to begin with, when I go back and look at it, stuff and things and this and that, that's not clear. You're looking for what makes it clear, and the one that would make it clear is J. So right here, you could bloop out they, and you could insert his pencils and pencil tips. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark, and you guys are ready to move on to process writing after you tell your camp counselor how many Skittles they owe you.